You saved my horse. That horse. Just go down the road, you'll see.
Hello, stranger. Please. Our farms.
I can ease your load. Your goods are safe with me. A good day to you. Hermes guide you. Hail, traveler! Store your things with me! So long! You can store your goods with me. So long! way to you. So long. If you're going out there, until next time. I can ease your load. Here I keep you.
Where are my rings, man? I found some level 4 rings with the 4th name on it, but I cannot find them now. They sell them unwritten? I thought I had put it with those defending rings, but it's nowhere to be found now. Let me just check other vault. Perhaps I have forgotten it there. Did not put on the character. Yep, here it is. I also need a staff. I do not have enough intelligence to use that one. Fuck. I was thinking about this one. 340 intelligence. Rings. Get some physical damage. Which is not ideal. Yeah, the only thing I can have is this stuff. The rest sucks. 1959, the US was about to get very lucky. Computers at the time were becoming a thing, but they kind of looked like this. Tons of wires connecting everything, all of them sending little precise electronic signals to each other to solve tedious, complex math problems. It was clunky, it was inefficient, it wasn't very special yet. Then two American engineers that were working separately at two totally different companies had a very similar idea. The idea was to get rid of this, all these wires, get rid of this new technology called a transistor. It's like a really precise, reliable on and off switch. Rush to control pulses of electricity. It was super precise. But at first, transistors looked like this, big, clunky, lots of parts. So the idea was to start carving these little on and off switches
good day to
onto
you.
a material called silicon. It's like a super abundant metal-like material inside of Earth's crust. But it's actually a horrible conductor of electricity. Mix silicon with other elements, it conducts electricity really well. It is a semiconductor of electricity. Exactly what they need to precisely control the flow of electricity. Very good. Don't worry. Transistor switches onto a silicon chip, a single circuit.
Your goods are safe with me.
Small together. So that's what they did.
Leave if to get to the farms. Turn back.
Yudi, thank you again. Please bring word to General Lee.
We were leading a flock. Won't find me straying from the village again. human face. I am Telis. These creatures live like savages, fighting and snarling amongst themselves.
This was my home. The beast.
Traveler, please. News of satyrs and even...
The necklace! My daughter will have... I wonder... I'm busy enough supplying the Spartans. Hurry, what do you want? Bye.
I was Hippias. You should be careful. I'm quite all right.
So, you killed it. I have to say,
So you're go now.
if I look worried, it's because...
mortal. I am Anaya. If the spiders are as long as the spiders. You have claimed. Thank you, stranger.
Old Hippias was the most. Storage for the burdened. Your goods are safe with
We've
me.
got trouble. The dead raise them.
Welcome, welcome. A fine warrior like yourself. I'm sure I've got just what you're looking for. Nothing else? Need a recommendation? Farewell!
Our chests are spacious and secure. Safe travels!
Gentle greetings, good traveler. You have much potential, young warrior. Men have poor vision. They only judge by outward signs. Not until your worth is spelled out in great acts of heroism will you earn their respect.
The truth is, I've just arrived here myself. So you found the good luck, traveler.
So the skeletons will, in future times,
So, the road leaving town. The Oracle of Delphi is the greatest.
I was on my way from Delphi with some goods to trade. I had just set up camp amongst some nearby ruins when I heard the rattle of bone and smelled the scent of death. I looked up and saw skeletons everywhere. I lost my possessions, but...
when the first satyrs attacked.
Blades, shields, potions, greaves, bows, helmets of all kinds. Oh, can I help you? Best of luck.
Seeker, we thank. Welcome, Seeker.
Easy. City. It's a big, beautiful map, which would be easy activity to do until you realize what's actually happening here. You've got the Chancellor of Germany, you've got the OG colonizers of Portugal, explaining this place to Belgium, and France, and Italy, and you've even got the new country, the United States who showed up. Kind of new to all this imperial stuff, but quickly learning how power really works on the international stage. Basically, anyone in Europe who didn't have an empire yet got in now. Oh, and crucially, they didn't invite any
Now I can make
to
the
be clear,
journey.
this painting isn't exaggerated. Like, it's not a political cartoon. This is literally a bunch of European dudes in a room in Berlin in 1884 discussing and coordinating how they're going to carve up and keep this continent. And they decided that there was going to be one big rule for this new scramble for Africa. No pretending. None of this only on the map fake imperialism thing that the Pope arranged for Spain and Portugal a few hundred years previous. You actually have to control the land you're going to claim. So they divided the map on who gets what, they leave the conference, and they get to work. The French start moving in quickly from West Africa. The British begin taking over Sudan and expanding north from down here in South Africa to take over all of this land. The Germans really start establishing themselves here and over here. Italy starts occupying all this land up here in the north and east. And Leopold, well, he got his colony. 77 times the size of Belgium. Here it was as a blank canvas when they first started exploring in 1880. Here it is 14 years later. Little Belgium down here, giant Congo up here. The blueprint is filled out. The conquest is complete. But this new colony, King Leopold, of course, went on to do horrible things, exploiting, pillaging the resources from this place, and wreaking horrible havoc on the people. And it is horrific, and it is horrendous, and I made a whole other video that kind of goes into it more. I'll link to it, and go to the sources in the description. Okay. All of these empires were carving up this map, coming in, mapping it very beautifully. It's like literally the opposite of what it was. It's unknown and now it's totally known. Pillaging the resources, bringing it back to home, making record profits, etc., etc. And all of this carving, it happened really fast. But wait a minute, hold on, pause. How does this make any sense? Like, it made sense when it was all like on water and there were ships and domination and trading ports and all of that. But this is an incredibly logistically ambitious thing to do. Like, this was actually a central question for me that led me to make this series, because I just didn't understand how these countries in a matter of a few years could completely carve up the second largest continent. Well, the answer to that question isn't that surprising. These Europeans now had a leg up. They had new tools. Remember, they had invented capitalism to make them rich. That gave them time to do science, which gave them technology that they used to make their capitalism better, more effective, more productive. This cycle repeated itself over and over, giving Europeans a further and further leg up technologically, until soon they had stuff like this, a steamboat. You didn't have to worry about the wind anymore to keep going. You could just steam your way all the way up African rivers.
The old African queen.
Or the railroad, a quick way to transport food and troops. Like, you can see this map. All of this red is either railroads that they put in or railroads that they were constructing at this time. This allowed Europeans to level up not just in Africa, but everywhere. I mean, here they are in India. The British quickly taking over this entire subcontinent of what today is India and Pakistan and Bangladesh with this massive, complex rail system that they built basically in no time. They also invented the telegraph, which could now relay messages in a matter of minutes instead of weeks. I mean, this political cartoon really personifies how powerful this was. And of course, we've been looking at this whole time. They made maps. Big, beautiful, juicy maps showing the geography and the people and all of the land that they had conquered. In addition to technology, these empires had also perfected the art of allying with local power holders and turning the people against each other, divide and conquer, which allowed a small group of Europeans to control millions.
Come again!
And of course, they had these.
Make light self-journey.
These refined killing machines that allowed small groups of European soldiers to rip through truly formidable African armies. Like, look at this painting from Sudan, where the British used their guns to slaughter 10,000 enemies with just a few hundred losses. And here, this casual caption showing these savages now run down by these modern weapons of war, clearing way for civilization. Now, it wasn't this easy everywhere. Descendants of white Dutch settlers held off the British for a long time down here in South Africa. And the Ethiopians were able to hold off the Italians from conquering their land, making it the only place in Africa to never be colonized. But listen, in the midst of all this bloodshed, we have to talk about something that doesn't fit cleanly into our narrative of good versus evil. Because the presence of these Europeans in this continent also brought really positive things. Remember those French dudes that discovered the treatment for malaria? Well, that was tested in the field in French Algeria, a colony. It changed medicine forever, giving us our modern understanding of mosquitoes and the diseases they spread. The scramble into Africa helped push forward our understanding of health and disease and medicine. These and tons of other medical developments helped these Europeans conquer land, but it also brought innovation that we still use today that has saved countless lives.
Be as the mouse, set aside provisions. That's Hesiod.
Okay, so technology was a major defining factor. It wasn't just technology. Once again, we see in this chapter what we saw in other chapters. Europeans had to develop new, sophisticated mental inventions that allowed this all to go down. The popular story that they were telling themselves at this time was that all civilization could be ranked according to the level of development. And look, according to this analysis, they placed themselves at the top. And they could tell themselves very easily that they were the enlightened people of the world. This new colonizing story is the most sophisticated and tantalizing yet, and it's one that's still kind of embedded in a lot of our brains still. That the enlightened civilization had a burden to bring civilization to the rest of the world. For that, you kind of needed to stay on top and control. And the reason why this story was so tantalizing is because at this time, it was being blended with actual, real objective science that was being done by Europeans, like this guy, Charles Darwin, who changed the way that we think about the natural world. He just put out a book about how animals evolved into hierarchies with different capabilities and traits. Well, if that applies to all animals, then it must apply to humans themselves and their societies and their civilizations. So then they go out to the field with their maps and they start gathering observations that confirm this story. And soon they're measuring people's souls all over. They're giving notes, they're developing theories and terms, they're writing academic papers, all of this to define a pretend set of pseudoscientific ideas. The idea that all have different race, all with different natural capabilities. And that is what must explain why some people have the resources and technology and others do. Like the previous stories that Europeans told themselves, this one was intoxicating. Think of all the generations that passed where this story could be ingrained into the minds of people. But again, remember that, like, I'm not saying that these Europeans are telling themselves the story every day. We're now talking about the great-great-great-grandchildren of, like, the original colonizers. The individual people didn't have the grand plan in mind to go carve up Africa. They were just responding to what they knew, what they'd been told was real, what they wanted to believe. It was a way of life. It was a way of thinking. And if we think that we're somehow exempt from a similar type of mental model that we don't see, but that dictates our behavior, we're tricking ourselves. I mean, listen to one of these British imperialists, Cecil Rhodes. He says, "We happen to be the best people in the world, with the highest ideals of decency and justice, liberty and peace. And the more of the world we inhabit, the better it is for humanity." Okay. Cecil has made up his mind. Okay, so let's look at the map in, like, the early 1900s. Africa looks like this, completely carved up by European powers. Over here, the Dutch had conquered the entire Indonesian archipelago. The French completely taking over this part of Southeast Asia. But the real key in all of this Berlin stuff was the British Empire. In addition to all the stuff they had in Africa, they occupied a huge Indian subcontinent. They also had a few of these important ports like Hong Kong and Singapore. I mean, I can't go over all of the stuff they took over because it's just too much. At the peak of their empire, they ruled over 412 million people, which was a ton for that time. Their domination had spread to almost 25% of the globe, making Britain this rainy set of islands in Europe the biggest empire that ever existed. In doing so, they spread their people, their ideas, their economic system, their fringe language to every corner of the world, including where I'm sitting right now, because remember, the US is just one expression of the British Empire, the branch of the empire that went on to become the most powerful country in the world, to influence how the world order would look. By 1914, Europe had successfully taken over the world. They were deathly rich compared to the rest of the globe, and their ideas, both good and bad, were deeply embedded in the international system. But suddenly, all of this technology, all this industrialization that made them so effective, turned away from conquering faraway lands and was turned on each other. Over the next 30 years, hundreds of millions of people are killed in the two most destructive wars ever, made possible by all the same things that allowed Europeans to take over the world. Sophisticated weapons and technology that Europeans are now turning on each other. The so-called sophisticated race is now slaughtering one another on an unprecedented scale. These wars didn't do the image of the civilized Europeans in Europe, and Western school local elites decided that they didn't want to be ruled by foreign forces anymore. They were able to rally their people around a common language and birthed national identity that didn't include being ruled by white people from some faraway continent. And they pushed the colonists out, sometimes peacefully, most often. The Europeans had built this insane global project for more than 400 years, and yet they saw it crumble in a matter of decades. So, today, the map has been severely redrawn. Former colonies are now mostly independent countries. There are still a ton of weird, idiosyncratic holdovers from the colonial period. I've talked about those many times, and I will continue to talk about them. I want to finish this up, finish this video, and finish this series up with my last thought here, which is something that the map doesn't tell us much about. Even though all these countries became independent, they can claim their own sovereignty, their own borders, their colonizers are gone, they didn't actually. Not only were there roads and borders that were literally drawn by colonizers, you could see basically all of my previous work. But by the end of this, it was the Europeans that had tied the whole world up into an interconnected system that still kind of echoed the old one. The Dutch invention of the Sherwood Corporation didn't go away. Private companies didn't suddenly stop looking to the same far-off places to find resources, to find labor, to feed increasing demand among their people back home. And European rulers and their offspring didn't stop using their big metal guns and technology to get what they wanted in farming lands, occasionally talking to each other and occasionally fighting with each other. Fighting to control land, to control people, to control ideas. And perhaps most powerfully, the idea that our enlightened way was indeed the best way.
We will stand with the new leaders of Iraq as they establish a government of, by, and for the Iraqi people.
Certainly is not. And yet, only that simple. Simple narrative of good and bad. Greedy Europeans take over the world and do anything to stay ahead. That would be a lot easier in some ways, but it's not. Europe taking over the world has also thrust humanity into an age of peace and prosperity, where people live longer, suffer less in a lot of ways, have more food to eat. I mean, the very moral lens that you and I are using right now to evaluate the good and bad of this history, that was a lens that was cultivated and developed by the same cultures that pillaged and subjugated their way around the planet. These ideals of justice and equality, human rights and representation, social equality and self-determination, those ideas permeated the globe alongside the colonizers who carved them up. And yet it was this conquest that put these people on top of the whole system, giving us the power and the advantage, the default power was in our world. These three parts have been a story of how an isolated group of farming people, some of them my ancestors, left their shores to explore, discovering a vast world that eventually they would find a way to control, and in the process, setting rules for how things work today. What's slightly scary to me about this is how easy it is to look back on this whole history and feel like it's going to happen to us no matter what, that it was inevitable, that of course Europeans took over the world. They were always more adept, they were bound to control the planet. But if there's anything I've learned diving into this broad tour through European imperialism, is that this idea is just hindsight bias. This didn't happen because of some superior DNA or because God wanted these people to take over the world. But rather it happened because a bunch of people happened to be at the right place that allowed them to start a chain of millions of little decisions that pushed them to do whatever they could to procure more and more resources. They got ahead because of lucky circumstances, and yet today in our modern world, we continue to do whatever we need to stay ahead, while simultaneously believing that it was always going to happen. It's over. I mean, the series is over, but the year is over. I deserve this. And not only is it the end of the Europe series, it's the end of the year, and what a year it has been. By the way, this video is not sponsored by anyone, probably because we're in a recession. And so I'm going to take this time to just reflect a little bit on what this year has meant for me as a storyteller and a journalist, and for our team, and what we are going to do next. I think for me the big thing I learned this year was that we can build a big operation. Like, for a long time it was just me kind of pushing buttons on a laptop and like making stories, and this year it actually became a team. We now have lots and lots of people making really, really cool stuff, a very talented team. And we're doing journalism on a level that we've never done. We go really deep on every fact that we say on this channel, and that requires a lot of work. Sometimes that feels really tiresome, but a lot of the time that feels exciting, that we on YouTube can be doing like hardcore journalism. And fun stuff too, obviously. We got to do a few in-the-field documentaries this year, which was really amazing. I went to Paris and Korea and Switzerland. We printed a lot of amazing maps and showed you what maps were like over the years, what they used for. Oh, and my hair got really long, so I decided for the first time in my life not to cut it. And that's making my whole no shampoo thing a little more complicated. Maybe I'll make a video about that. Anyway.
You're no monster.
I eat a lot of Doritos, like a lot of Doritos. Like I really like Doritos, even after I know how they're made. But in my mind, this is kind of just the beginning. Like I want this to be the beginning. I want like 4 years from now, look back and be like, okay, 2022, that was the year that we really started to ramp up. And that gets me to the thing that I'm really excited about that we launched this year, which is a community on Patreon called The Newsroom, a place where people like you support us and what we're trying to do here and allow us to grow. More and more, and especially during economic downturn and unpredictability, this work that we do relies on community support, on people like you showing up and supporting us. And it's our newsroom supporters that are allowing us to do better work, to do more of it, and I'm very grateful for that. In addition to supporting independent journalism, newsroom members also get access to a bunch of cool stuff, like a behind-the-scenes vlog, an extra video every month. There's a lot of really talented, interesting people behind the scenes, and every month you get a vlog where you see how it's all done. You get access to music from our composer Tom Fox, you get access to my scripts, like occasionally we do Q&As, where we get to chat, I do polls where I get story ideas. It's become a really cool community of supporters and just a kind of a sounding board for cool ideas. Oh, and here's a big one. We've started publishing our videos over on Nebula, which is a creator-owned platform where you can get our videos a week early. There's a link in my description that explains all that. If you want to support the channel and you're like a production person, then we have lots of presets which help us color our videos and photos. And if you don't want to support the channel and you just want to keep watching, that's fine too. I'm not here to tell you to give me money. I'm here to make cool stories, and I hope that you're learning from these videos, and I appreciate you being in the first place. So, let's raise a glass to a wonderful year of learning, growth, and amazing stories, and look forward to a 2023 that I hope is going to be full of even more growth. Not only growth in the number of people that are here, but also a growth in our desire to understand this world, to understand the story of how we all got here and how it works today. I will continue to be the curious storyteller who tries to bring those stories to you the best way possible. We appreciate all of those who are supporting, and cheers to a great 2023 of curiosity and a lot of maps. Bye, everyone.
I can't believe I let those Gorgons get the best. Thank you, but goodbye. I have...
Yes?
Thank you. you, three of them.
We sent a It seems as if every...
It's like the largest bunker in all of Switzerland. It's massive. I mean, look at this place. 30,000 square meters of space, which is 300,000 square feet for those Imperial
Hey,
people out there
you
like
there?
me.
You see our troop.
And I'm
You see
hanging
our
out
troop.
with Eric,
Tell them we're on.
currently owns the bunker. This is where the crew shelves. So it's not easy for all of it. Yeah, that's gotta be one of the deepest showers. He's been showing me giant cannons and the sleeping quarters and the hospital and the giant generators that have provided electricity for this place. From the outside, this thing does not look big at all. Wow. Look at that. That is amazing. A reminder that every time you see a little door in the forest that goes into a bunker, it's probably a massive network of tunnels. 2 meters of concrete here at the entrance. You go inside of this door and you are led into a labyrinth of tunnels and weaponry. 8 kilometers of long ways, 8 kilometers. Oh, and the most gnarly doors you've ever seen in your life. They're quadruple fortified with huge slabs of concrete. This is like 2 meters of concrete. It's it behind there with a rifle. No one is getting into this bunker anytime soon. I went to Switzerland to hunt for bunkers, fortresses drilled impossibly deep into mountains and cliffs and villages, hidden from view but packing deadly power. I've seen so many bunkers. You don't have to look super hard to find them. They're everywhere. But there's a bunker right here because this is not a rock. It's a door. These little doors in the middle of the forest. So unassuming, so benign. But boy, if you knew what was inside. Let's be clear, this isn't normal. Most countries still bore into mountains as their defense strategy. But Switzerland isn't like other countries.
When you live in Switzerland, you never really have a sense of threat. With Switzerland, we're neutral, right? Nothing gonna happen to us.
So instead of forming alliances and sending troops, they dug, and the results are nearly 10,000 of these, scattered all throughout the country. And that is what I have been searching for. Okay, where are you, my bunkers? Where are you, my bunkers? Ah, I see something down there. That is not natural erosion on this cliff. I keep looking for more and more, and I'm realizing there are too many for me to fly to. Like, there are dozens up there. This cliff is just riddled with little windows, totally primed and prepped to just light up this entire valley if there was an invading army from the north. Oh, and it's not just the mountains. I also discovered hundreds of thousands of bunkers dug under Swiss homes, a further expression of the Swiss habit of digging to remain neutral. The bunkers are at the center of a discussion that is heating up as the world becomes dangerous again. So Switzerland is once again debating what these bunkers mean to them, and what it means to be safe, secure, and neutral in a changing world. Okay, wait, before we continue the story, I need to tell you about today's sponsor, as we look at the beautiful Swiss countryside. Today's sponsor is NordVPN, which is a long-time supporter of this channel, and I'm very grateful for that. I've been here in Switzerland traveling, and when I travel, my computer and all of my accounts kind of freak out because they think I'm like someone logging into all of my accounts from a different country, but it's really just me. So what I do is I click one button and I log on to NordVPN, and it connects me to the internet via the United States. So all of my accounts work nicely. This is like a big deal if you've ever been in like the death loop of two-factor authentication, like can't send you a text message because you're in a different country. Anyway, that is just one use case. NordVPN can be used for a million things. Not only can you connect to the internet like via the UK and like watch like Netflix UK, being connected to the internet is becoming like a minefield of different threats, whether it's like phishing or your
password getting stolen or just like malicious trackers. The internet is not as safe as it used to be. I love this because it just operates in the background. It's one button, click it, it just does all the things. And right now they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't like it, you can get all your money back within 30 days. So go click the link in my description. It's nordvpn.com/JohnnyHarris. Clicking that link helps support this channel, but it also gets you in on an exclusive deal that is happening right now where you get 4 months of NordVPN for free. Thank you NordVPN for sponsoring this video and making it possible for me to come here and make this in-depth piece on bunkers. It's like a dream come true. Okay, I'm gonna get back to the road. On top of a mountain overlooking a stunning view, but I'm looking for a bunker up here. It's on the wall of this cliff. I think I need to fly the drone to find it, but it's raining. That's a problem. Box rolling in, I gotta be quick. How long is that? I know there's a bunker nearby. That was too close. Alright, I think this is my takeoff point. Oh yeah, I see bunkers. I see bunkers. Oh boy. Just blending into the side of this mountain. Oh my god, look at this. I mean, just looking at these bunkers, you start to realize how incredibly ambitious of a feat this is to drill into the side of a cliff and decide to build an entire network of tunnels that are connected and well armed and strategically placed so they can hit the targets you want to hit. Oh look, there's another one. Oh my god, look at this. That is just the base of this cliff. Oh my goodness. And it's hidden. The only reason I can see it is because I am above it, but if you're looking at it straight on, you don't see it. It blends in perfectly. Look at that. There's one behind all of these little facades. They're just guns that are hiding in the wall of this cliff. Okay, on to the next bunker. The Swiss were really good at digging into mountains, building cable cars, trains. They got really good. And that prowess for digging became incredibly useful in the 1940s when their situation looked like this. Surrounded by fascist regimes that are quickly taking over Europe very effectively, these two allies, Italy and Germany, with Switzerland kind of sandwiched right in the middle. Neutral Switzerland wanted to stay out of the war, so they did whatever it took. But one of the major things they did when they wanted to stay neutral was they started digging.
It's you.
They turned their mountains into a literal giant fortress. Yes, you heard me right. They turned their mountains into a fortress. Or I guess technically, for a military nerd, a redoubt. Redoubt just means basically an impenetrable fortress that is dug into the ground. But redoubts usually look like this. One fortress. Switzerland wanted to turn their entire Alpine region, which is like a huge part of their country, into a giant redoubt. I'm gonna explain to you the strategy in just a second, like what the thinking was here, because it's a little paradoxical and weird, and war is weird. But yeah, the point is here that they started digging and started creating what one historians call the biggest fortress in Europe.
By Hermes and Isis both, welcome. I keep goods safe.
At the base of the Swiss Alps right now, and I'm in a village that is very Switzerland. It's got a lot of grass and cows and barns, but a few of these barns, like this one behind me, have a little secret inside. Wow. This gun is massive. It has a range of 21 kilometers. And this is just one of 4 barn bunkers that are all connected to each other in this village. Now, green grass for the cows right now. Saltmeter grenade. You have to use this shell.
Goodbye then.
Like that. Oh,
At your service.
first grenade. Shell.
Goodbye.
Just people that provide to protect all our army secrets. Lot of people have to just quiet or all of it. Switzerland turning their country into a giant fortress was basically made possible because of these giant natural walls that they already have. If you're an invading army, you can't get a bunch of men over these mountains. But these walls had gates in them. Those gates are called mountain passes. And when you're not in wartime, mountain passes are actually really good. Do you see that bridge behind me? That bridge has been used for a long time to let people flow throughout this pass. But if you're Switzerland in 1942, these gateways through the Alps that have been used for trade are now a liability. They're now a gateway for invading armies to come take over your country. So this is where they focus their attention. All these choke points, all of these gateways to their mountains. The idea was, if the Italians start coming from that way, or the Germans start coming from that way, they can sit in their bunkers and blow the smithereens out of anyone coming up this pass. Because again, it's a choke point. No one can go anywhere else. You can't go over the mountains. You have to go through this pass. Alright, I'm down from the mountains for a little bit, and it's because I got invited to hang out with this guy. He's a retired Swiss historian who's freaking obsessed with maps of Switzerland. I've never felt so seen in my life.
I'm an artillery gunner. I did my basic training in a fortress. And then we went here, just for training, Zurich, in the pre-Alps.
He's showing me with this amazing 3D relief map what this fortress actually looked like.
Here, in these high mountains, were several very, very important fortresses. Some here, there are old ones, and some modern new ones. Here, and even here there are bunkers, and there is Toblerone. Do you understand?
Yes, I saw the Toblerone.
Toblerone. There is a last Toblerone, and also here is one. When France was defeated in December 1940, and it was surrounded by the Axis. This was let's say, an emergency solution. This was the redoubt.
Okay, so I hike up to this Swiss house in the middle of the pass. Looks like just a normal Swiss house. It's beautiful. But you look closely and you see something. These windows aren't real windows. They're painted on. This thing is actually solid concrete. This is not a chalet. These are not like barn doors. Oh, wait, are they gonna let me do this? Oh my god. Oh my god. Look, these are just little gun holes. Put your gun through that thing and you can shoot. This house is not just a house with some gun holes in it. It's actually a network of tunnels. Hey, check this out. I found a fake rock with a gun in it. I was looking at this rock and it looked a little weird, like a little off up close. It looks like a real rock. It's not. Thunder. Yep. Oh yeah. Boom, I see your secrets. I've looked at enough bunkers to know what the playbook is. Hide something either in a village or in a mountain, put a huge network of tunnels under it, and just point at the pass. And get ready to fire in case there's an invasion. But wait a minute, let's examine the logic here. yeah, it's really cool to have mountains full of really protective bunkers. Really cool. But most people in Switzerland do not live in the mountains. Most people live up here on this flat plateau. And in the early 1940s, they were sitting ducks. The point here was not to protect the people directly, but rather to signal to Hitler and Mussolini that if they wanted to connect their two empires, they would have to go through the Alps, and that would be incredibly costly and basically impossible. It's like using defense as the deterrent. Oh, and it worked. The Nazis had a plan all fleshed out to invade Switzerland, but they never did it. And yes, that is not just because of these bunkers, it is because Switzerland was letting the Nazis store money and stolen stuff in their banks, trading with them, etc. The bunkers were a part of the deterrent strategy, but the Swiss really pandered to the Nazis as another form of staying neutral. Something they hear a lot about, even, 7 years later. Damn. And if my intel is right, that big, giant mountain behind me is actually a bunker. Wait a minute. Yes, I do. What is that? What is that? I see you, big boy. You are a very well hidden gun. Wow, that thing blends in very nicely. That as their fortress? Like, no one can fire back. Another hidden bunker, another successful drone flight. Nice job, drone. Let's get out of here. On to the next one. I hear there's a tunnel up there at the top of that mountain. That foggy, wet mountain. 3.5 kilometers. I can do this. Let's go. By the way, big thanks to the subscriber who recommended this bunker to me. I put a call out to ask Swiss people what bunkers they should go hunting for, and this is one. So yeah, Hitler never invaded, Switzerland stayed neutral in the war, but eventually the Swiss government was like, why are we paying for a bunch of bunkers that we designed for Hitler? So they decided to decommission them. A lot of them are totally abandoned. But then you have private buyers, people who have bought them to turn them into whatever they want. A lot of these are museums or are owned by like military organizations that want to preserve the history. But some people get really creative with these bunkers, like they're growing mushrooms and fermenting cheese in them. Or perhaps my favorite use, the place I slept last night. This is my hotel tonight. I booked this hotel because I'm making a story about bunkers, and so I was like, I've just hit the bunker hotel. I had no idea it was gonna be this. This is a deep in the mountain bunker. There's dripping water. There's like original ladders. This place is nuts. Okay, well I guess we need to go get dinner in this bunker. There's like a restaurant in it. It's there now. What is happening?
The small country, surrounded by powerful nations, has been able to remain neutral for the past 150 years.
And I'm back at the city. And I need to tell you the next part of the story because this is where it becomes relevant to today.
The Swiss people have always been ready to protect their country.
The bunker digging strategy worked in World War II to keep Switzerland neutral. They kind of latched onto the idea of digging bunkers worked, and they weren't going to stop doing it. But the Nazi threat went away and was replaced with a new threat, one that would not be deterred by turning your mountains into a giant fortress.
Basically means to stop whatever you are doing and get to the nearest safe place fast. It is called a Cold War because armed forces, although used to threat already unleashed.
While the rest of the world was busy making alliances and arming themselves, the Swiss turned to their good old strategy of digging. But instead of focusing on mountains, they turned to the city. I've been hanging out with Robin, a Swiss journalist, who's been showing me around the non-mountain version of Swiss bunkers.
So this is like a normal basement, usually in a Swiss house, and then behind here you mostly
Mysterious
have
warrior,
this thick
by
door.
saving my
It's
life.
really nothing special. It's just a regular cellar. What we do as Swiss people, we store, golf clubs. We store skis, wine, guns, of course, with a special window, with a special filter. So we close this like this.
Yeah.
After like this.
It's gotta be funny that, like, American comes to town and is like, look at these bunkers, and you're just like,
no, George, it's just a cellar.
It's a cellar, it's nothing special. And I'm like, but the door is so thick. So you're Switzerland in the 1950s, your big Alpine fortress digging bunkers thing worked, and you're like, let's make everyone have a bunker in their house so that we can be protected against nuclear apocalypse. Okay, cool idea in theory. In practice, incredibly impractical and very expensive. So they did what they do for just about everything in Switzerland. They put it to a vote. And so in the 60s, they decreed bunkers as a right. They actually lined out exactly how to build bunkers. They required everyone to build them, either retroactively or in their new buildings. And the Swiss government would pay like 70% of the cost for these bunkers. The people would be protected using the same strategy that they've always used, digging holes. So I went to the factory of a company that makes bunkers, the beds and the dry toilets and the air ventilation. I feel like I'm wandering through the IKEA for bomb shelters. And perhaps my favorite, these giant doors. Oh my god, these giant doors. I've fallen in love with these doors. I don't know why. They're just large. They're really fun to like push and pull. And they're just kind of cartoonish because they're so freaking thick. Oh my god, look at that door. Oh my god, look at this thing. Oh yeah. Wow.
It's nothing.
This is nothing special.
No.
Oh, and they always have like this yellow wrench that I've like become very attached to. Like the yellow wrench. Oh, you see a yellow wrench and like there's a bunker. It's like safety or something. I don't know. Can I buy one of these as a souvenir? I've wanted one forever. Oh my goodness. I have a yellow wrench. I've always wanted one. Thank you. The bunker industry's been slowing down since the end of the Cold War for obvious reasons, and it's no longer required by the building code for new houses to have a bunker. But unfortunately, the Swiss bunker is now getting a new wave of attention.
Ja, war Krieg herrscht. Dieser Tag fühlt sich für mich weiterhin wie ein Albtraum an.
As the assault closes in on Kiev, 2.5 million civilians are suddenly on the front line.
Putin's invasion of Ukraine is changing everything. The fear and the risk of having to use a bunker like this is increasing.
The war started with phone calls, emails daily. Interesting.
Good store and transfer.
Germans call. Switzerland, they have 11 million, more than their people underground
Travel
shelters.
light.
Germany is zero. So I got calls daily from people from Germany. Can I rent a room here now?
Ukraine, das ist nicht mit 26 Februar, da, das ist bei uns auch da hinten, das haben sie, das sind überholt worden, mit Anfang dieses Jahr, März, mehr schluchzenmäßig mehr verkauft als letztes Jahr, das Ganze. Das ist von Ukraine. Und das ist halt die Auswirkungen von Ukraine-Krieg.
People are thinking about their bunkers again. The government is inspecting them, making sure they have enough. And a giant neighborhood bunker that is anyone on this neighborhood block to come to in case of an emergency. It's fully decked out as expected, and it even has a full-blown operating room and a room for dead bodies. That's what that is back then. Putin's invasion of Ukraine changed everything for a lot of places in the world. But here in Switzerland, it didn't only change how people think about bunkers and physical safety, but it also kicked off a debate about the complex topic of Swiss neutrality.
The Swiss government says it is adopting the EU sanctions package on Russia. That's a huge move.
This is Switzerland who made Leute did not take a side when it came to Hitler.
Ich freue mich, dass wir bei dieser Aggression seitens Russland endlich klar sind und dass wir sagen, so geht das nicht mehr.
Aber es glaubt uns niemand mehr und deshalb braucht es eben diese immerwährende Neutralität.
Swiss President Ignacio Cassis said extraordinary times called for extraordinary measures.
Joining in on sanctions for a lot of people is a massive violation of the thing that has kept them neutral and peaceful for like 200 years.
Die Schweiz muss neutral bleiben, das heißt, sie kann nicht in ein Militärbündnis gehen.
Several parties saying, well, you know, we should be more flexible, more traditional parties saying, well, you know, neutrality means not doing anything, not joining any party, not helping anything, but rather, you know, offer Friedensgespräche. I don't know how you say.
Sanctions from the EU, which basically makes us a war party. I don't like it. It's right. If you're from a country that isn't obsessively neutral, you're kind of like, dude, you gotta take a stance. But here, they think differently about the right side and the cost of choosing a side in conflict, or more importantly, the benefit of not choosing a side.
I think the Swiss are the people themselves want neutrality, but you never know.
Okay, well, that's it. That is my journey. I have to say, this story left a bit of an impression on me. I came here thinking I was going to go hiking around and stumble upon some abandoned bunkers in the forest. But as I dug into this, I found myself understanding Switzerland in a new way. This place where the people didn't colonize other countries, but stayed here, digging in their mountains so obsessively to defend their ideas about neutrality. A neutrality that is finding new meaning in a changing world. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I filmed so much more than was put into this video. Boy, the work is just begun. It's kind of scaring me right now. It's old, it's kind of broken, it's not as good, and I used to hear a lot about the American this is what it takes to get a bunker. Oh. Okay, I gotta go find that drone. Like, it's almost a travesty. So much so that I'm finally done not doing behind the scenes. I'm gonna start putting a bunch of BTS up on Patreon. Patreon is a place that I turn to for support in a world where I'm trying to do deeper, more factually correct journalism. That is expensive and time consuming. So over on Patreon, I'm gonna start to publish behind the scene vlogs or show you how all this stuff is made. I'm also going to publish a full version of this tour that I did through Eric's bunker. It's way longer and way cooler than like the 2 seconds I was able to put in this video. And going forward, I will be doing behind the scenes stuff from the studio and from my other travels so that you can see how this is made. You've been asking for it for a long time. I've been resisting for some reason. I'm done resisting. Go become a patron and help support independent journalism. If you want to support in other ways, there's lots of presets that are in the description. And thank you, Switzerland, for another amazing trip. I'll see you soon.
Hello there. I am a healer.
We are cruising through the Arctic, a landscape few have ever seen before. Journey through this rugged, wild world requires everything we have, shows us no mercy, and yet is so full of magic. We want to
understand how this world is changing and what that will mean for all of us. We will meet some people who couldn't be happier, and others who see their future in danger. The Arctic has always represented more than just the longing for unspoiled beauty. For thousands of years, it's been considered untamable. But these days, a race has begun about who will conquer it in the future. We have flown around the globe once across the far north to discover what the future holds for all of us. It's a world that is changing. We're approaching the Aleutian Islands, a chain of volcanic islands frequently battered by storms and extending from the Alaskan mainland far to the North Pacific. The rugged islands are blanketed in soft green. Our journey through the Arctic begins here, far south of the Arctic Circle. All over the island, there are relics from World War II, shipwrecks and bunkers. Here we have come across a story that suggests a new, dangerous conflict is on the horizon, high up north in the Arctic. But now at the end of July, with high temperatures of around 11 degrees, the Aleutian Islands reveal their gentle, good-natured side. Dutch Harbor, on the main island of Unalaska, is a top U.S. fishing port, a $1 billion business. Every year, some 350,000 tons of seafood, pollock, cod, halibut, as well as huge king crabs are offloaded here and shipped all over the world. The leftovers are picked over by the eagles that live here, like pigeons do in Berlin or Venice. In 1741, the 160 or so islands were discovered by Vitus Bering, a Danish officer commissioned by the Russian Tsar to find out if there was a land bridge between the Americas and Russia. A small Russian Orthodox church is a reminder of the days before 1867, when Russia sold the islands, along with Alaska, to the U.S. for $7.2 million. A good deal for America. A deal that Russia regrets to this day. The fishing boat sets off from Dutch Harbor for the fishing grounds in the far north in the Bering Sea. More than 1,000 kilometers away, it's one of the most inhospitable places in the world. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning from the Blue North docks in Dutch Harbor, one ship that can venture deep into the north. For 3 months, they had been navigating the Bering Sea close to the Russian border. The Blue North is the most modern ship in the American fishing fleet, with room for more than 600 tons of fish. We've arranged to meet Captain David Anderson. He's been working the seas as a fisherman since he was 19, first as an ordinary deckhand, now as captain. For months, we've been in contact with him via satellite. He sent us videos that demonstrate what it means to fish in the Bering Sea. Just watching them makes us queasy. Captain Anderson wants to tell us about a dangerous encounter, possibly a new front line, which in his view has received far too little attention.
And she thought, it's like, boy, I gotta listen to these guys. Who knows what they're gonna do? You know, they're capable of everything. And they're unpredictable. I gotta check through.
Captain Anderson gives us a tour of the ship, his pride and joy. The highlight is the so-called moon pool, a large shaft in the bottom of the ship for hauling in the lines during storms so that the crew isn't exposed to the weather. The Blue North is a so-called longliner. These lines are a total of 70 kilometers long.
We have 55 magazines on board. One magazine has 1,200 hooks on it. To buy 55, which is what we have on board, you're looking at 65,000 hooks.
Hey, onboard that we have, that would big fish in a 24-hour journey.
The Blue North is a floating state-of-the-art machine, a battleship, if you will. Nearly everything is automated. The fish, mostly cod, are gutted and cleaned, sorted by size and weight, packed and finally defrozen, all on board. It's a huge business. Each shipment brings in more than $3 million to be sold all over the world. However, every year, it becomes increasingly difficult to find the fish.
The fish are definitely biting. There's no doubt about that. And there's only one way for them to go, and it's north of Sea Gulf. It's obviously it's cold waters. So they are coming up north further. And we're fishermen. We gotta find the fish. We go on the fishing net. So a couple 10 years ago, we would only have to go 18 hours out. You know, and then now 2.5 days. We're going 2.5 days to find the fish. That's how much it's changed. It's changed quite a bit.
But the further the fish migrate north towards the Arctic, the closer the coasts of Russia and America become.
Yes?
On the bridge, Captain Anderson tells us the story that made us want to meet him. He recorded the whole incident with his phone.
As the plane was coming, you can see video, see ropes, and you can take a shot of the plane.
An airplane was approaching from the distance.
When I first saw the plane, I just thought it was a ghost. No big deal. Didn't think twice about it.
So long.
I've seen it before. When I found out it was military, that was a different story. That's now lots of experience. Especially when I found out that it wasn't our military.
The aircrew ordered them to turn back, demanding that they set a new course at maximum speed. What made the situation so volatile was that it was Russians ordering an American fishing boat to leave American waters. Also on the bridge was Mike Fitzgerald, the second in command of the Blue North.
Well, it was just short of action. I mean, they're telling us to get out of the way. They're charging them. I mean, if you have tanks and trucks plowing across the U.S. border anywhere, telling civilians to get out of the way, it's the same thing. We're fishing. We're fishing in our
Do you
water.
need something?
Yeah, that happened.
It remains unclear why the Russian military acted so aggressively. In the harbor, we meet the crew of the Sunward, a small wooden fishing vessel with a crew of 4. There's an atmosphere of concentrated, tense activity. The crew is preparing to set off to their fishing grounds 800 kilometers north of the Bering Sea. After some beer and whiskey the night before, Captain Garrett Fenderson has invited us to come for a trip around the island, while they refuel and stock up on food. That's good for morale, he says. Then the crew has something to talk about for the next few days. It's going to be a strenuous trip.
We're going to surf from one there, to the cities, but stairs, surf on one there. By the time we see down, out, these all 40 is we'll try to look up the backside of the island protection. Stay up there for a day.
On deck, the crew secures the fishing equipment. Waves over 10 meters high are not uncommon in the Bering Sea, but the fishermen are used to storms and waves. There are other things the crew is more concerned about.
They turned on 25 years ago, and they only have to encounter them once or twice, and they know what you're doing. They wait for you to haul your gear, and then they steal your fish, or prey on your fish. And they hunt fishermen up there. They wait for you. Sure, it's eating fishing edges. We will show up by the way from that. She started to look for the water's.
But there will come a time when even the Sunward can't make the trip. The northern journey has its limits.
Yeah, starting to pushes us out of the fishery. We can only go so far. About St. Anthony's about as far out as we can go and still have enough fuel and water and whatnot to make it back to Neutron. Otherwise, it's just not big enough.
We asked the captain if they have ever been driven off their fishing grounds or if they've ever heard what happened to the Blue North and other fishing boats.
You heard about that last year? But I got to say, there's Russian warships and now they've got finished.
We wanted to know what he as captain would do if the Russians drove him on his fishing grounds.
By the Russians, I'd be pissed. What am I gonna do? Is it like the military? Or I don't have any guns. Throw fish at them. You know?
Back on the Blue North, after their encounter with the Russian military, the two captains are now expecting the American government to act. They knew that the Arctic is changing.
This is Fisher moving north. Fishing vessels are moving north. Military should move north too. I think it would be a great decision on the USAID's environment, honestly. I think it would be very good, especially for the future fishing and future goes with the future holds with the Arctic.
Because the fish keep migrating further and further north towards the Arctic, the fishermen hope for military support. We're beginning to get the feeling that our journey through the Arctic will hold many surprises for us too. We leave the Aleutian Islands. We're heading east to Pond Inlet in the Canadian Arctic at the entrance to the Northwest Passage. As for Canada, they are already preparing for new conflicts. Baffin Island is the fifth largest island in the world, 1.5 times the size of Germany, and virtually uninhabited. The icebreaker Harry de Wolf of the Royal Canadian Navy is on patrol. Often for days on end, they travel through uninhabited terrain, through a world that is increasingly turning from white to blue. Captain Gleason and his crew are surveying the seafloor, water depth, and geological structures. To operate here in the remoteness of the Arctic North, you need to have a precise grasp of what it looks like above and below the water.
Redemption in 15 years. The reality was that it was 80 years, not 15 years. So it's not good enough to navigate safely on to keep ships safe. Russians.
On deck, the crew prepares for something Canada has never carried out up here before. This is only a test, but it will soon be standard procedure for patrols through the Northwest Passage.
Back to the best on day, Trevor. So they say they're about 5 minutes away for us slowing down, so we can deploy.
As the ship slows down, Gleason's crew lowers a thin cable into the water. Attached to the cable is a kind of sled, a state-of-the-art sonar device that they will pull through these remote Arctic waters.
Drawn up to the first underwater sovereignty patrolling using tour races to look under the water and to listen underwater and start building more of an understanding of the Arctic waters and how submarines and other vessels can operate up in the north to either support sovereignty or challenge it.
Canada wants to demonstrate that it's not only capable of staking its claim in the Arctic, but also of enforcing it. Also on board are a squad of paratroopers from southern Canada. They're making final preparations before going ashore. The soldiers are to get a feel for how large and remote this land is. In case of an emergency, they'll have to defend it.
Okay, so we're going to send you all ashore all at once. Initially, you guys get yourself ashore. Once you're ashore, you can establish your position. So I know you guys want to be up there for at least 4 or 5 hours. Get your feet on water. Just take care of everybody else's phone. Questions?
Only very few Canadians know their own country here in the north. it is still too far away and too difficult to reach. One can sense that it's also a great adventure for the soldiers to be out here at the northern edge of the world, to experience for themselves the power of this wild and pristine nature. They're training to work together with the Arctic Rangers, a local Inuit unit that patrols the entire north of Canada, from the west to the east coast. They will be learning from and with each other. The Rangers show the soldiers how to survive in this harsh world, where they are often left to their own devices. Shooting and cutting seals is one of the most important survival strategies, because seal meat contains a lot of vitamin C, they say, important in an area where there are neither trees nor fruits or vegetables. Especially nutritious is the liver. But in addition to the vitamins it contains, raw seal meat has another advantage that is particularly important up here in winter.
Winter time, a little bit of that 2 minutes. So, it's a chemical reaction in the body that reacts to the seal bread. And everything starts going. You don't have to eat very much.
The Arctic Rangers are the eyes and ears of the North, local fishermen and hunters who roam the Arctic virtually year-round to provide for their families. And they explain to the soldiers how one survives here. The soldiers in turn show the Arctic Rangers how to use a radio to communicate over long distances and equip them with the tools they need for the job.
Social program to talk with anyone around, so they can talk with the plane, the military plane. They can talk also with the ship. So what you do is sort of investigation. To talk with the plane or the helicopter.
And even if things don't always work out right away, they're becoming more and more important for the Canadian troops.
Our job is to see what's happening in our territory, respective territory. And if we see anything out of ordinary, ships, submarines, or other activities, we to report it back to last month was 300 clicks out towards the reporting it towards North America and reported seeing something.
A submarine?
It was one of the vessels, yes.
As to where the ships and the submarine came from, there's still no answer. But since discovering Soviet underwater maps of the Northwest Passage from the Cold War period that are much more accurate than Canadian maps, Canada has been under the assumption that undiscovered visitors have been navigating Canadian waters for a long time now. For the soldiers, one thing is very clear.
Military-wise, we need to wave the flag, or boots on the ground, just to show that people overseas that, yeah, we are here, we're patrolling the area, we're doing some things about what to use, whatever. I think in order for us to, we can't just leave the backyard open, we gotta put a fence around it, so we'll do that fence, like, to show people that we're here.
The North is changing at a breathtaking pace, and Canada's government is trying to keep up. The Harry the Wolf is its first response. Additional robust patrol boats of this type are under construction, and Canada plans to deploy them in the Arctic in the next few years.
We're just starting to operate as a matter of routine business, because the Arctic ice is allowing us to do that now. Ships don't normally operate up that far north at any time. But as Canada's Arctic continues to open, ice allows ships to operate further north. It puts Canada in a position that it has to put ships further north, and the Royal Canadian Navy is part of that plan.
Canada wants to preserve its sovereignty over the Northwest Passage, and doesn't want to become a pawn of the Arctic superpowers, the US and Russia. But even if the ice is slowly disappearing, Captain Gleason has a message for all those who intend to roam around up here.
Don't underestimate the Arctic. It's not something that you can't control. It will change. You need to go into the Arctic with a plan, but understand that your plan may fail at first contact, and then you need to adapt to the situation.
We continue on in a small single-engine propeller plane, accompanied by Dirk Goita. He's an experienced pilot who has made landings in Antarctica. Before we take off, we have to practice putting on our survival suits. Dirk gives us 4 minutes.
It fits! Okay. Wow, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Pretty damn awesome.
Previously, Dirk was a successful IT entrepreneur and banker. Today he travels the world and is familiar with the flying conditions in places where there is no quick assistance if something goes wrong.
Ready to go.
He's considered one of the best. Ahead of us lies an adventurous journey across
Where
the
is that
Labrador
lazy
Sea,
boy?
Greenland, and the North Atlantic.
Hello.
As we travel many hours over uninhabited territory, onto the loneliest corners of the Earth, only accessible by air or ship. The west coast of Greenland emerges in front of us. Dirk descends. Visibility is good.
That's it, we're out of
We can't quite comprehend at first what we're looking at.
Traveler, come look at my wares.
Where we are headed.
Farewell.
This is a world that hardly anyone has seen before. A world that immediately mesmerizes us.
So long.
Over jagged ice landscapes that continuously change colors.
I have some space, just a little.
We fly low over glaciers and through fjords, and it leaves us breathless again and again. It's a world of such natural wonders that we are humbled in its presence.
Yes,
But this is a merciless
come
world
again.
that permits no mistakes. Many have died up here, or have crashed while trying to cross the mighty ice sheets. Here, it is rarely as peaceful and gentle as it was for us.